GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered. And that's MVS and Justin Watson with some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues. If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up. Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow, comma, semicolon, period, next sentence, to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man JRich.
Is that yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
and Jay
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude.
he? Let's get it. GMGP. It is Monday, October 28th, 2024. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with me and my dog JRich in the damn building. Week 8 of the 2024 NFL season. Almost in the books. We got a lot to talk about. Hail Marys, Bryce Young, Denver Broncos, Bo Nix, 2020-25 NFL draft class, and of course, my Dallas Cowboys, and actually my Baltimore Ravens. JRich, I know you see the hat, baby. I know you see it, Jay. We are in the building. What's going on, Rico? Who we got in the damn building this minute? Chief 22, what's happening with you? GMGP, Chief, Richie in the building. Will, Jimbo, Florosaurus, Greg, Will in the building. JRich, do you have my music on? Where's the music at? Zane in the building. Alex, Jeff, Rico, turn that shit up, man. It's Monday. Let's go. Orlando in the building. Sleepy Joe in the building. I ain't talking about that Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe's in the building. It's Cedric Tillman. Legit. I mean, the box score says yes, it is. Florosaurus, my girl Joe, is in the building. All of that. We got a lot to talk about. Oh, here we go. Kyler Murray. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't talk about this shit we talk about that's dead ass wrong, but let's pump up Kyler today. Good stuff, Kyler Murray. Oh yeah, Adam, I couldn't hear it. We needed the music louder. Cut the music now, Jay. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it, baby. Geno Smith. JRich might talk about it, but welcome in. Welcome in, and yes, I've got a new team. I am done. Jordan Richards with the Dallas Cowboys. Done with him. Got to find a new squad. What? I'm done. I am done, Jay. How you doing this morning? Come on the screen. I'm done. We got a lot to talk about. I'm done.
I'm good, my friend. I'm good. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put on a team's hat, you can at least put on a winning team's hat. So to Rico's point, you are wearing the wrong hat. Now, he'd probably prefer you to be wearing a Detroit Lions hat, but you already put on a Lions hat. The Ravens, coming off another loss, Ray, bad loss to the Browns. Defend your boys then, since you are now a Ravens fan.
Matter of fact, okay, fine.
Oh, where are we going? I see a Lions hat, Saints,
Here we go.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
There we go.
Now we're talking.
Do something for the Swifties, Ray G.
Let's go. All right, Jay. We got a lot to get into.
So much for the Raiders.
We cannot pump. Somebody said fair weather fan. Dynasty Empire, I've probably been watching the Dallas Cowboys longer than you've been alive, my friend. Probably longer than you've been alive. So after 28 years, I think I can take a break. Fair weather or not, I can take a break, and I'm done with them. Let's get into some of the housekeeping. We appreciate everybody being here. Make sure you're tapped into the podcast radio feed. Got a lot of dope content here on the channel. Shane Says Trade Show drops on Saturday, and it is Mock Draft Monday. So I'm going to be talking through a mock that I saw last week and kind of base what the mock is talking about and the information that we saw on Saturday. Try to talk through some of these players, collegiate players, team fits. And this projected top 10, Jay, is looking kind of crazy. You look right now at the projected top 10 in the NFL draft based on the rankings today. A lot of interesting teams up there with a lot of fits. So make sure you pull up and check into that. That'll drop a little bit later this afternoon over on the YouTube channel. And then as well as our partners, Underdog Fantasy. Y'all know what it is, man. Use the promo code ALLGAS for up to $1,000 in bonus bets. Scan the QR code on the screen. NBA is popping. We're doing all kinds of stuff in the cord. And one of the most beneficial, impactful, important partnerships that we have right now that we do not take for granted. And I wear a pink wristband every day for our neighbor who is currently battling breast cancer. But New Era hats, crucial Catch series. This is very important for everybody around the world. We want people to join in the fight against cancer with New Era hats, the official hat of the NFL. Each hat from the Crucial Catch collection not only represents your favorite team in bold colors, but promotes the prevention and the early detection of cancer. Wear your colors proudly and help us tackle cancer head on with the official cap of Crucial Catch. Charitable contributions are awarded by the NFL Foundation to the American Cancer Society. So support, let's fight the early prevention and detection of cancer. Screw that stuff, man. Crucial Catch, New Era. There's a link in the description. You get 10% off. JRich, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Got some news items, so we're going to go ahead and kick it to you, roll into straight facts, and then get into the games, baby. Let's go.
The biggest news in the world of sports. Covered and brought to you by one man, Jordan Richards. This is Straight Facts.
All right, everybody. So we did have a few injuries this past Sunday. We will start it off with the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Christian Kirk, who's going to be out for the season with a broken collarbone that he suffered against the Green Bay Packers. The other one that could be for the entire season as well is Stephon Diggs, who is suspected to have torn his ACL. We are waiting on MRI confirmation for that. So we'll see what happens today, but chances are he did tear his ACL and he will be out for the season. So the Houston Texans are definitely reeling right now. They did get a win this week, but they need to get Nico Collins back, and they need to figure out what is wrong with this offense, especially through the air, because without Nico Collins, they've definitely been struggling a little bit. Drake May was knocked out of the game in the second quarter. Now, the Patriots still did get a big W, and we're very happy about that over the New York Jets, but he's probably not going to be playing this week, so we probably see Jacoby Brissett in Week 9 for the New England Patriots. Jordan Love suffered a groin injury that knocked him out of the game. Malik Willis did come in and was able to secure the W for the Green Bay Packers, and we may see him this week. We'll have to monitor practice reports on Jordan Love and whether or not he is going to be able to start this coming week. And last but not least, Jordan Mason suffered a shoulder injury that knocked him out of the game. He tried to return, and I think the coaching staff held him out in the second half against the Dallas Cowboys. Isaac Grando did have a great game, and they are going to be on bye this week, so Mason will get healthy. But unfortunately for him, Christian McCaffrey is expected back in Week 10. So that's pretty much it for the injury news right now as it stands. Not too bad. And Ray, you are bending the knee to the people, and in particular, Mr. Rico Stone himself.
What happened?
With the Lions hat.
Oh, yeah. I want to pick all good teams that could win so I can get that feeling of what it's like. What it's like for your football team to win something, JRich, win something. News-wise, I saw the Mason injury. He laid on the ground for a minute. It's one of those things we talked about, enjoying while you have them. You know, that what is Jordan Mason to San Francisco? Late round running back. We're going to pound the shit out of him, and once CMC gets back, get out the way, we're going to put Christian in. So hopefully you sold high on Jordan Mason and his blow up. The Jordan Love injury sucks. I was watching the box score. I saw Drake May was cooking early, apparently, and then got knocked out. So that was unfortunate for him. And then I did not. So let me be very honest with y'all, Jay. This is going to be a fun show because old GQ has not seen just about anything that's happened outside of a little bit here and there. We were gone the entire weekend from Saturday morning, 4:30 a.m. to Sunday night, 9 p.m. Both of my boys had baseball tournaments. So I have not seen much of anything. I am box score watching, trying to figure out what the hell went on, Jay. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm asking you and the people to fill me in. What happened? How did this happen? How did Cleveland come back? Because pre-show, we're looking at the thing, and I'm like, damn, I did not know any of this. We're completely out of touch with the games this weekend because the kids and family, they come first, baby. They come first. So let's pull up the first game that I really want to talk through. I'm so intrigued by this one because I didn't see it happening. Y'all are talking about the winning team. Hell, I thought the Ravens won. That's why I started off with the damn hat, and they lost, Jay. They lost the game to the Browns, 29-24. So you're going to have to talk to me, JRich, and the people. What the F happened in this matchup where I'm looking at the box score from a fantasy perspective? We kind of talk about Nick Chubb. You got to play him because he's going to get work. Got the work, but my eyes, Jay, go to the receiving game. I mean, 7 for 99 and 2 for Tillman. Elijah Moore, where did he come from? Jerry Jeudy, 5 for 79. Njoku, 561 and 1. Like, yo, Jay, did the Browns look this much damn better with Jameis Winston than Deshaun Watson. I mean, the box score obviously says yes, but how did the flow and the feel of the game feel as you were watching it with Winston in?
Yeah, it just looked like this offense had life once again, right? And it's one of those things where you watch a team like the Browns, and they have playmakers. They have Amari Cooper, who we've seen play well, with Joe Flacco, and even at times with Deshaun Watson. You know that Elijah Moore can factor into the offense, Jerry Jeudy as well. Cedric Tillman, of course, was a massive surprise once Amari Cooper departed, but getting Jameis Winston does one thing. It's a quarterback that will sit back there and deliver the ball to his receivers. Yes, there was bad throws, there was mistakes, there's lots of things that went wrong, and in a lot of ways, Baltimore didn't always capitalize on James's mistakes, but Baltimore's offense wasn't playing well either, and I think that's where, for a team that struggled a little bit, they let Cleveland stay in the game, and at the end of the game, what happens? They're playing kind of underneath. Cedric Tillman goes over the top, busted coverage. Jameis, of course, because he doesn't want to throw the ball short. He wants to win the game, throws it over the top. Cedric Tillman catches the touchdown late in the game, and ultimately Baltimore isn't able to get it done on the final drive, something we can't say about Jaden Daniels. But it's just weird because this is a team that wasn't playing very well. They get Jameis Winston. You expect, some life out of the offense, and it definitely came, but Baltimore didn't handle their end, which is offensively being very, very strong and defensively holding up on the back end. Well, you can't allow this to happen against Jameis Winston.
Ask me this. Baltimore pass catchers, it looked like Zay did his thing, right? 7 for 115. Zay did his thing. Andrew scores again. Nothing else. What happened to Shotty B? I pumped up Bateman last week. Bateman 1 for 28. Nothing from Bateman. Likely was fine, I guess. 8 measly points. The King didn't. I mean, he scored 6 yards a carry. Pretty. I don't know why they didn't run the ball more if Henry was that explosive or effective. And then Lamar, I mean, 289, 60% completion. Doesn't look like they did a lot offensively, Jay. I did not watch 1 second of this one, so this is all sort of just new information to me, and I wanted to keep it this way for the show today. But what say you from the Ravens side of the ball?
So with the Ravens, it just was missed opportunities, right? Like Bateman, you're going to see the clip on Twitter of him being wide open after Lamar sending the play, and he's like, right off my chest, right?
Yeah,
like,
right
catch it with your damn hands, right? You idiot. But, maybe it was the sun, whatever the case may be. And it was a lot of that. It wasn't just one drop from Bateman. There was multiple instances where he just couldn't reel it in or wasn't making the play. The rest of the pass catchers played fine. Zay got involved later in the game when they were kind of down, trying to come back a little bit. Early on, they weren't really using him a lot. It's just another one of those instances where you watch the Ravens play and you're like, why aren't you guys just using your best players more effectively? We saw this happen against the Raiders, and we questioned their play calling a little bit. We saw it against the Chiefs. We questioned their play calling a little bit. Andrews did get involved and was good. I thought Likely was actually better than even his box score necessarily indicates. He did have some key conversions. He did do great after the catch. It's really just like one of those games where you watch the Ravens and you say, how did they not win this game? Because they're more talented. They're the better team. But credit to Cleveland. They rose up. The defense did play well enough, and they played good offensively and ultimately won the game because of it. It's just weird that this ended up happening.
Is the Cleveland receiver boost for real? Can we look at Tillman, Jerry Jeudy, and Elijah Moore moving forward as matchup-dependent starting options? Not saying you plug and play no matter what, but, I mean, is there something here with Tillman, with Jeudy, with Elijah Moore? I'm just looking at the target distribution, and I haven't even looked at the Trinity yet to see what they've done, but it's going to click very well for all three. Like if I looked on DD Fantasy Football, if you want the best usage visualization tool in fantasy football, DD Fantasy Football, the Trinity tool is the best. Like we ain't no data company. We don't do that shit, but putting the data in a way that people can understand what all that bullshit means, like we do it better than anybody out there. So go to the tool, follow the dots. I'm very curious to see what these dots look like from the Cleveland Browns. Jay, anything else you want to say about Winston, this squad, your faith in Tillman, Winston, this Browns team now moving forward against Baltimore's pass defense isn't good. Like you can throw on them. Their pass defense is not good. So I think I want one more week, but I'm very encouraged by this offense and what they were able to do because we know Deshaun Watson wasn't doing any of that. Let's go to Detroit, Tennessee real quick and try to get this stinker out of the way. 14-52. And we did talk about this game on Friday. Sam Laporta, there it is. We talked about increased usage for Laporta. There it was. He got in the zone. There he was. And you talked about Khalif Raymond having a game. He did not have a game, but he did score a touchdown, JRich. So Khalif Raymond scored, Amon-Ra scored, Brock Wright scored, but it doesn't look like anybody really did anything outside of Gibbs and Laporta. Jared Goff, 85 yards and 3 touchdowns. Talk about efficient work. I looked at this box score and I just laughed. Jared Goff completes 12 for 85, and they beat the brakes off Tennessee. I did hear Mason Rudolph scored a rushing touchdown, and Ridley found life in this one. So talk to me about quickly, Tennessee, and I think we know what to do with the Lions. The Lions are what we thought, and we're going to continue to start the players that we know we're going to start. But talk about Tennessee moving forward. You confident in Calvin Ridley, and Tony Pollard looks like the same running back that Dallas probably should have had. He's been awesome this season. Talk about Ridley real quick, because that is your boy, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, so we'll start with Tennessee, right? Because Mason Rudolph had plenty of opportunities in this game because Detroit, all they did basically was score touchdowns the whole game. It was like they were playing at the NFL on varsity in NCAA 25, where they're returning punts for touchdowns and long yardages. They got a lot of short fields, forcing turnovers and scoring right away. They're busting out trick plays. David Montgomery's throwing touchdowns in this game. Like, it was ridiculous because, honestly, Ray, early on, this was a bit of a game. Like, at one point, this game was 14-14 in the second quarter, and then Mason Rudolph really showed up, and he's throwing picks, and Detroit is returning touchdowns, and all of a sudden, this game is over quicker than you even expected. But to talk about Calvin Ridley in particular, I believe he had 100 yards in the first half. As you can see here, 10 for 143. 15 targets, the bona fide alpha of the Tennessee Titans, which maybe doesn't mean a lot, but honestly, it was good to see, because if you do have Ridley, maybe you do feel confident in starting him, because if this is the volume he's going to receive, he is startable. Tony Pollard, once again, was great in the absence of Tajay Spears. Hopefully with Tajay Spears back, he continues to be good. But honestly, the outlook, especially in terms of touchdowns.
TP20's been balling this season. He's been good behind in a bad situation. He's been really good, Jay.
Yeah, Tony Pollard's been great. The question really is, like, do they go back to Levis or do they stick with Rudolph? It doesn't really matter. As long as Ridley gets his targets, I just don't think anyone else is going to be viable on this team. But if they do go back to Levis, Ray, do you think you'd have any fears about starting Ridley next week?
Hell yeah.
You got 15 targets this year, or this game, with Rudolph, but if he has Levis next week, does he see the same target volume and target consistency?
Should. Let me say this. He should. They should throw the ball to Calvin Ridley. Yes. Throw the damn ball to Calvin Ridley. Can Levis get it there, and can he get it there accurately is a completely different conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only problem.
The hell if I know. Let me tell you this. Right now, ranking Calvin Ridley for week 9, he'll be inside the top 36, but it ain't. I'm not going back to 24, 15. Yeah. Like, he'll be inside the top 36 because of opportunity, but yeah, I'm still very skeptical on this. And Detroit, I mean, run your player. It's Detroit. Like, we're not going to talk about that. They're all dope. All right, JRich. Let's talk about A-Rich. Indianapolis Colts lose 20-23 to the Houston Texans, and C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson each had a touchdown in the game. 175 on 10 for 32, 285 for 25 and 37 for Stroud. JT was back, and he did his thing. 20 for 105 and a touchdown, 5.3 a carry. Mixon continuing. The battle of the bell cows in this one. You got just 2 bell cow hammer type running backs. That's fun to get. Looking at the Texans box score, because ODQ did not watch. I listened to some, but I did not watch, and I'm just now seeing some of these box scores. Tank Dell, everybody wants these big yards. He's scoring touchdowns, but he is not the downfield Nico Collins replacement. They're not asking him to do Nico Collins type shit. Diggs, I did not know he suffered an injury, so I see John Mechie got some burn for Houston. Mm-hmm. And Josh Downs looks like he performed quite well for you if you had the balls to start him in this matchup, which most probably did not. And that's probably the right way to think about it going into this matchup. But Downs, 4 for 109. Talk about this one, Jay, because there was a lot of back and forth on the Richardson performance that I was watching or seeing. Some tweets were saying he's playing well. Some tweets saying he's not playing good. Like, how the hell was this one so close? If he was that damn bad, how was this one so close is my question to you.
Yeah, this is where, if you didn't watch the game, it's difficult to assess A-Rich, because even if you did watch the game, Someone actually just put it in the chat. JRich is like an NBA player who can hit threes but can't hit free throws. And it's like, that is how it feels to some extent,
that's
right?
A nasty analogy.
Because when you watch some of the plays, right, you look at the first almost touchdown down the sideline. He's trying to squeeze the ball in between a cornerback and a safety to Adonai Mitchell on the outside, and he can't quite fit it in, and Mitchell can't quite keep his feet in bounds when he catches the ball, and you're like, that was an almost touchdown. And then Josh Downs catches the ball super extended over the corner. Great throw by JRich, but he lands at the 1 yard line and is down by contact, and Jonathan Taylor ends up scoring the touchdown. And so it's like, you see the potential, but then at the same time, it's like, how are you missing 22 throws in a game? And they did have some drop passes.
Hunter's saying that the Colts wide receivers have the highest drop rate in the league. It's just, I don't know. Like, I didn't watch it, and there was a funny comment in here. I am not Matt Kelly. Robert said race down is starting to sound like Matt Kelly not watching the game and going to brunch. I would have liked to be at brunch instead of Fort Worth, Texas, all effing weekend long. But I love my boys, and I'll do anything for them. So, boys baseball came first this weekend. Ray didn't watch anything, Robert, except a little bit of that Cowboys game last night. But, Jay, I have been in this fantasy football space for a long time, man. I've paid my dues. I've seen a lot of cycles come around and things happen. And I remember Josh Allen, after his second year, people said he wouldn't get a second contract. Like, that was real fantasy football analysis from some of the biggest names in the space, that Josh Allen would not get a second contract from the Bills because he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Not good, shitty, yada, yada, yada. And then they go get Stephon Diggs, and the rest is history. Started 17 games. I'm not panicked at all. 6 carries, 45 yards, 175 touchdown. I'm not worried. I will continue to buy in. If somebody is panic selling in Dynasty, sell him right to old GQ. I will buy him up. I have no issues whatsoever. Learning, he's young. I've got no issue. He needs to play better. Hell yeah. You need to play better. 33% completion, 31% completion percentage ain't going to cut it. But like you said, the talent is there. They probably need a guy as well on the outside for him, a tight end. They don't have an easy button for Anthony Richardson. Still, I look at the box score, no tight end production. Like, everything that he's getting, all of his production is to the wideouts. Get him an easy button. Throw it to JT. Throw it to the running backs. Had 2 receptions on the game? Find a tight end, find an easy button for him. Other side of the ball, how bad is Diggs' injury? Like, how bad? What are we talking about here? How bad is it?
Supposed to be an ACL.
ACL what?
Tear. Yeah, out. Like, done.
I had to get my coffee during the news, so this is the first I've heard of this.
Yeah, no, he's
ACL
he could
tear?
be out for the year. Yeah, could be out for the year. Yeah. So you could be looking at, Nico's supposed to be back week 10, but you could be looking at Tank Dell, Nico, and then a spattering of John Mechie, Robert Woods, who returned and did look pretty good. The thing about Stroud is that's weird is, like, he still had 285 yards. He had his touchdown, and his throw to Tank Dell in the end zone was crazy. Like, right over the defender. Only Tank Dell could get it. He went
Stroud's an assassin, man.
Ridiculous. But it's like, the problem with Stroud, Ray, is that he's not delivering for fantasy. Part of it is Joe Mixon. The running game has been very good, and they've been running the ball a lot, but he's not throwing touchdowns, and his receivers are going down now. They're missing time, and it's like, where are we at on Stroud, and how do you feel about Stroud with another mediocre game? There's no way he was in the top 12, especially with the QB performances we saw this week. The team is good. The team is winning, but Stroud for fantasy is a difficult analysis right now because you don't see him playing horribly. Last week was really bad against the Packers. This week he played fine, threw for a lot of yards, but only 1 touchdown.
I'm still, man, this Diggs thing. I don't think people I'm not joking when I say I was out, and I did not know this. Man, it was non-contact.
Pretty much. He was going through a route, and so there was a bit of contact from the defender, just kind of like jockeying him, marking him. But then he cut, and then he kind of pulled up, and that was it. So it's looking like expected ACL.
It's a rough year, man. It's been a rough football year for injuries. Like, screw fantasy for a minute. Just, if you're a fan of the Houston Texans, like, you want to see Houston with Diggs, with Dell, with Mixon, with Nico Collins. Right? Like, you just want to see your squad out there at full strength. And, man, this is it's a tough season, man. Just keep grinding out there, folks. Real talk. I know. We try our best. Like, I see D-Bro in the chat. Shout out to you, Derek. You're my dog, man. D-Bro's in the chat. I think a couple of other creators that I know are in the chat. We try our best every fucking week to dive into numbers and matchups. At least I do. We do. I know Derek does, right? Can't speak for everybody else, and we try to provide actionable information, but this is a rough season, man. We're all chasing our tails out here, just trying to find opportunity and good situations and healthy bodies to insert. So just hang in there and grind, man. We're all chopping, y'all. We're all chopping. So thank y'all for being here. Let's talk about Green Bay Jack. Well, real quick. To answer your question about Stroud, without Diggs, just quick. Any update on Nico? Like progressing well, setback, how's he looking? I think Stroud needs Nico. That is his downfield big play
Seems
guy.
like it, yeah.
I think they'll be fine operating without Stephon Diggs. Woods, Hutchinson, Mechie, they're not one for one Diggs replacements. Neither one of those three will be a one for one Diggs replacement, but I think they'll be able to replicate and produce, manufacture some of the Diggs production, the underneath work. That downfield shit is what they need. They need the big play, one pop, I can drop this joint in there for 75 and we get off the field. So I think Nico coming back, that's gonna help Stroud out. It's gonna help the whole offense out. And Mixon being there helps Houston out as well. Number 2 in the AFC right now, the Houston Texans. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Jake. Green Bay. Let's talk about the Packers, who struggled, it looks like, in this one, 30-27, Mr. Richards. And again, OGQ did not watch a down of this game. So Jordan Love, 130, 196 in an interception. He was my QB 4 on the week. So let's go ahead and sad trombone that. Disgusting. That's QB4. Yeah. He did not produce. Josh Jacobs, wow.
Smashed.
25 and 127 and 2. Good night. The pass catchers, Dobbs again. Trust the Trinity. Trust it, folks. The usage is there. 3 for 72 and no touchdowns. And then you got Reed 2 for 55, Watson 4 for 39, and Wicks back in 4th place 2 for 11. So talk to me about Green Bay real quick.
Yeah, Richie said it in the chat. Matt LaFleur, Coach of the Year, baby. Remember I tried to tell everybody. What was it, week 3? Week 2? I'm like, this guy is coaching his ass off right now.
I was with him and KOC. Him and KOC were my two guys. LaFleur and Kevin O'Connell.
But where are we now? On KOC?
LaFleur.
Yeah.
LaFleur. If I had to get,
I'm glad.
LaFleur.
I'm glad. I think Campbell maybe still it could be in there a little bit because he's been coaching his ass off as well. But the thing about this game in particular, Ray, since you might have missed it, Jordan Love did get hurt. Christian Kirk is out for the season.
Yeah.
Right. So Jordan Love, groin injury. He didn't play at the end of the game. It was like, I believe, mid-third quarter, late around there. Didn't play the 4th at all. And to be honest, this offense wasn't playing overly well. Jacobs was great in this game. Like, he was really, really good.
127? Let's go.
He was really good. Love was a little bit inaccurate. You just saw some plays that just didn't quite work out. But overall, I thought Green Bay survived in this game more than they really thrived. And honestly, once the second quarter hit, T-Law was flying, man. Like the way that the Jaguars played.
I give you the JRich got a hit. He told us on Friday a not so obvious start this week was Trevor Lawrence. Nailed it. If you started T-Law, you were in good shape. Good call, Jay.
Yeah, T-Law did have a good game. It took him a little bit to get going. He threw an early interception, but ultimately, you look at BTJ, who did suffer a bit of an injury. We're going to see what his status is. It was a chest rib injury. People think it was when he scored his touchdown and fell on the ball. He might have injured himself. So we'll see if he's available for this week, but hopefully he's going to be back. The big thing here really is that, like, this Packers defense at times plays great. They scored a lot of points early, kind of took their foot off the gas, and then ultimately they were able to get it done with Malik Willis, who once again, honestly, for what we expect from Malik Willis, he's playing great football right now. And that's why, like, for the pass catchers, it sucks if he does have to start if Love is unavailable. But outside of that, like, the team rallied around him. He played well enough to win the game. And it just sucked that you had BTJ get banged up. Christian Kirk got hurt. Gabe Davis got hurt. And so at the end of the game, Trevor Lawrence is left with just about nobody left, throwing the ball to Parker Washington, still kind of delivering and getting the ball down the field. But the Jags, unfortunately, are going to need every one of these guys healthy. Kirk is going to be unavailable. But as long as he has BTJ, I think they'll be all right. But if you're the Jaguars now, 2-6, probably not bring in a wide receiver to help out your quarterback this late in the season.
No. And I'm looking at the box score and reading the chat. I said this last week, Jay. We pulled up the Trinity usage tracker, and I said, I'm just a little worried about how Green Bay has deployed Jayden Reed the past 3 weeks. It's a lot of orbit motion in the backfield, screen him, see if he can yak. And in this matchup, Richie said the only reason he had 55 yards is because he had a 51-yard bomb to get the final field goal. It wasn't Willis. Yeah, he was 1 for 4 prior to that. I sold him this week in the league. I sold him.
Did you?
I moved Jayden Reed, and I'm trying to think of who I sold him for. It was another receiver name or body that was kind of comparable to him, but I just don't trust what they're using him and how they're using him in this offense right now. So if I can get out at this max price or this peak value or enthusiasm, I'm fine. He's an awesome player, but the usage week in and week out is very frustrating with this offense, and I just prefer a little more consistency at the position. So that's a little strange to see. And the BTJ stuff, y'all, go pull any receipt you want. I've been telling y'all since fucking June. Like, this was such an easy team skill fit match situation. I put out multiple videos on this situation and Brian Thomas Jr. and why you should be in on him early. And he's playing like the second best rookie wide receiver from this class. And he's been awesome every week. He's the team's #1 leader, target earner. And we had this hypothetical conversation last week, BTJ or Marv. Like, why would you? Marv had a game too, but yeah, I'm looking at this situation. You know, Thomas is tethered to Lawrence. He is the unquestioned #1 in this offense. Kirk goes down. I don't think it's a bad play. He's an incredible player, and trust the Trinity, baby. Old GQ knows what he's talking about sometimes when it comes to this football thing. Pretty damn good, Brian Thomas Jr. All right, Jay, we got a lot to cover. Let's go one more game before we go to break. Let's talk about Marv. Let's just pull up. Let's talk about Marv. Let's talk about your boy Marv. 28-27, the Cardinals beat the Dolphins, and they're the #4 seed in the how? How the hell are they the 4th seed at 4-4? Go fact check that, Jay, while I kind of talk through the box score. So Kyler finally balled out, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns for Kyler. Got it done through the air versus a very, on paper, difficult matchup for opposing quarterbacks. James Conner, bell cow Conner, got a lot of work, didn't get a lot of yards, but he did score a touchdown, which is awesome. Looking at the box score, Trey McBeast finally had his due and went berserk, 9 for 124. Marv got it going, 6 for 111 and 1. Michael Wilson scored. Damn, everybody scored from Arizona. A lot of points in this matchup. On the other side, Tua was back. And, finished the game. Looks like Achane balled out on the ground through the air. Tyreek did his thing, didn't score, and Waddle got back in the mix. Jonnu Smith kind of faded back. So talk to me about this one, Jay. I didn't see this game, but looking from a fantasy production-wise, like Marv, Cardinals were great. Dolphins, Achane was great. The other Dolphins were serviceable, but still not Dolphin-esque. And I did talk to people about a not-so-obvious start of the week on Friday, and I said I would start Raheem Mostert versus Arizona with full confidence. He didn't run for a lot, 9 for 119, but he did score 2 touchdowns. So that one did pay off. If you started Mostert, you were fine with that. But talk to me about this game, Jay.
Yeah, this was a game that I think a lot of people had circled for multiple reasons, right? You have the return of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with Tua Tagovailoa, and to be honest, it looked like Tua was in his first game back. Now, he did do some running of the football, which scared the hell out of just about everybody, because there's this play where he scrambles off to the left, starts running, and you're like, slide, and he slid, so we were all good. Didn't take the hit, but he got the ball to Tyreek a little bit. There was a couple throws that he probably wishes he had back, but ultimately, I thought he played pretty well for the first game back. Even against the Arizona Cardinals, I kind of expected him to play a little bit better because this Arizona Cardinals defense is not very good. But the story really here is that Kyler Murray was able to not just get the ball to Trey McBride, but he got the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. as well. This is a defense that coming in was top 5 in the NFL at not allowing passing yards and production to quarterbacks. Now, part of that was driven by the fact that they didn't have anyone playing quarterback themselves, and teams weren't forced to throw the ball a ton against them. But Kyler played phenomenally in this game after I was very critical of him throughout the week, and especially on Friday, and everyone gave me shit.
We both were critical. Let's be real. We both got on Kyler's ass, and he came back and said, JRich and Ray G, shut your mouths. 3-0-7-2.
He did play very well quarterbacking, which again was my more criticism of him. It's not so much running the football. We know he can do that. Didn't do a ton of that in this matchup. He was great getting the ball to Marv, getting the ball to McBride, and ultimately won the game. And that's what's most important here. I think that going forward, even though he wasn't this high-end quarterback, he was like QB 10, QB 11 on the week, whatever it was, he still played great and got them the victory, which for me is the more important factor here, because we care about it for fantasy, but Kyler looked phenomenal in this game. Probably one of the best games he played all season, in my opinion.
I see Patrick said, there's a comment in here that I wanted to bring up because I was waiting until the analysis was over. But I was wondering how people felt when he scrambled or if he was forced to scramble. I don't know if he got hit. Did he get
No, he slid.
Hit,
he slid.
But did he get hit in the game? Sacked?
Oh, a little bit,
Got touched up a little bit. Yeah, I just was wondering.
More so the rush. So he's talking about when he was in the pocket, he scrambled for the first down.
Okay.
And everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's running again." Not so much the pocket stuff. You're gonna get hit and he's gonna get sacked. But and then to your point, Arizona is the 4th seed because they are leading the division right now. So they are the NFC West leaders at 4-4. Yeah. That's why.
Somebody in the chat, there was a comment that it was something about. There was a couple of things I want to get to. So MV Prof says, Evan Ingram, league winner, locked and loaded with no Kirk. He said Ingram was literally playing wide receiver with Strange at tight end. I kind of like that. I had Evan Ingram as tight end 4 or 5 on the week.
Yeah,
so if you're talking,
crazy.
If you're that, as they said, I got to go watch the catch. I've not seen it, but they said the catch was sick. And then Garrison said Tua was solid as F in the game. And then there was also another one about Trey Benson. Should we panic on Trey Benson? Let me tell you right now, folks, if you haven't learned a goddamn lesson from this season, no. There's a very real chance that is the starting running back next year or some point next year, as long as he's on an active 53 and on the roster. Just because he's not playing, has Tank Bigsby taught us nothing? Has Tank Bigsby and no.
Yeah.
If somebody wants your Benson and they're going to give you something of value that you need to win, fine. But if you like the player and you like this offense and you want to buy into Arizona, then no, he's not going to take any work from Bell Cal Connor, but I would not sell Trey Benson. These dudes are going to get shots. Jalen Wright, it ain't happening for him right now. He'll get an opportunity. It will come for him to get a shot because most are to be gone or hurt or injured. It will happen. So no, I am not going to panic on Trey Benson if you're in or believing, but I also don't have to hold. I'll sell anybody. So we still got a lot to talk about, Jay. There's still a lot to get through, a lot to talk about. Let's go to break. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are watching, and we'll get through the rest of these games when we get back. Welcome back in. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, comment, and subscribe. We are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, giving you entertainment and fantasy football, NFL, and sports analysis. We appreciate each and every eye and ear in the building. We are going to talk about the Tyreek Stevenson-led Hail Mary. Washington Commanders beat the Chicago Bears 18-15. The Commanders are currently number 2 in the NFC. They are one of the best teams in the NFC, led by rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, who for majority of the week, we were kind of up in the air. Was he going to play? Was he not going to play? I didn't even include him in my QB ranks this week, and he played. And he had 326 yards. Hail Mary at the end. B-Rob 65 on 16 carries. Eckler did his thing. Daniels 52 on the ground. McLaurin. Ertz, talked about Zach Ertz. Other side of the ball, Caleb Williams did not look nearly as crisp as we hope to look coming off of the bye. We thought he would continue that hot streak that he had those 3 games prior, and he looked pretty damn bad. 41% completion percentage, 129 yards from Swift, so he's getting it done. And then the pass catchers, Jay, it looks like the target distribution was Keenan Allen leading the way, but no production from anybody. I mean, Kmet, Moore, Allen. If you started anybody other than Swift, this probably was not good for the Bears.
Yeah, Dan Quinn had a phenomenal game plan for Caleb Williams, and while it didn't always work in terms of keeping him in the pocket, he definitely gave him fits on the back end in the secondary. This is a Washington defense that early on in the season was getting cooked by a lot of quarterbacks, but then, as we've talked about over the coming weeks, they've gotten better and better, but in particular in this game, you could argue they looked even better than the Chicago secondary. Now, the Chicago secondary did play great, and they did give JD5 a lot of trouble, especially in some of the tighter areas in the red zone. But overall, you look at the way both these teams played, it's very clear that Jaden Daniels, even without the Hail Mary, did play a very good game and was competitive in this game with an ability to win. Now, Chicago probably should have won it. Obviously, they didn't hold up on the Hail Mary, but there was a lot of mistakes offensively from Chicago. There was a goal line fumble where they tried to give the ball to an offensive lineman that didn't work out. The team could have played better. Caleb could have played better. But in a lot of ways, I think the better team did win this game, and so you kind of have to look at it from both sides. I thought JD5 played pretty well, considering he was potentially not going to play in this game, but it is concerning to see Caleb 10 for 24, and I brought this up on the last show, and we didn't really talk about it that much, but this guy is literally going to have to play the Cardinals next week, which is going to be a tough game with the way the Cardinals are playing. The Patriots aren't going to be an easy out. And then he's got the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, the 49ers, the Vikings, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Packers to end the season. Those are all very good, very competitive teams, and of course, a ton of division games. Not being able to get a good game out of him here and have a good performance he can build off of is concerning for me. And I'm curious if he really does start to kind of spiral down the stretch playing some of these better teams.
It's what a lot of people have talked about throughout this entire process with Chicago, that they still don't believe in Shane Waldron. They still do not believe that this is the right offensive coordinator for this team, for what they probably want to do. But this is the bed that Chicago's made, so they have to lie in it. And he was significantly outplayed by a not 100% quarterback. And Jaden Daniels, y'all. I see D-Bro in here, excited about JD5. Joe saying superstar potential. Man, this was, again, watching the game, Jay. That's what I do. I love I love college ball, man. Like, I love it with everything in my body. It's fun to kind of watch those guys and project them, especially when you're pairing it with the fantasy game that we play. It was very early on last college football season. I'm like, that's a difference maker right there. You could just tell the experience. And what makes Jaden Daniels much different than any dual threat quarterback that I believe we've seen come into the NFL ever, Lamar Jackson included, and he's one of the greatest of all time. Lamar's in his own category because Daniels in college was not Lamar Jackson level of rusher. The numbers might be but you watch Louisville and Lamar, it was much different than JD5. But the difference between Daniels and every other dual threat quarterback is he is a he's a throw first quarterback. Like, he has a live arm, deadly accurate, but then he's got the athleticism of a Lamar, of a Vic, of a Randall Cunningham, and you pair that with accuracy, experience. He's incredible. And I remember going on record saying this is a first-round pick quarterback early on, and to see him playing out, it feels good, man. It feels really good. I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him because he did have to face adversity. There wasn't a single analyst that thought he would be even a highly drafted kid as he started his final season. That's the beauty of the transfer portal in the NCAA right now. It gave us Jaden Daniels, because if he was forced to stay at Arizona State, we would not have this type of player in the NFL or this type of player on our fantasy roster. So let's move on to another game. Let's talk about old Ladarius. Ladarius McConkey, my brother from another mother, Lad McConkey. Got it done in this one, Jay. I saw a long touchdown. He had 2 of them in this game. 6 targets, 6 receptions, 111, 2 TDs. Palmer, he tried his best to keep up. 72. He tried his best to keep up. I'm looking at the numbers here. Jalen Rager still getting far. How the hell is he on the team still? I didn't even notice. 2 for 35 for Reg. But J.K. Dobbins, 57 and 1 on the ground. Herbert, 279 and 2 touchdowns. So the Chargers beat the Saints. Chargers 7th seed right now. The Saints played 2 quarterbacks?
Yes, sir.
Did they play 2, or did like Spencer start and get hurt and then they played Haener, or were they rotate? What happened in this, Jay? And it looked like Olave got work.
Yeah, so Olave did.
I don't know what to even say about it. Talk to me about the Saints real quick, man.
Okay, so the Saints are obviously a dumpster fire. They're hoping to get Derek Carr back this week. Spencer Rattler did start the game and was horrible. Surprise, surprise. And he was benched in the third quarter. They brought in Jake Haener when the game was maybe still in the balance a little bit. They did score a touchdown. The Chargers scored a touchdown, and then the game was basically over after that. But they brought in Haener, and he was doing a lot of checkdowns and getting the ball to Kamara, but both quarterbacks are just dreadful. So it honestly, it was just a bad overall performance. Ugh. The big takeaway from this game is two things for me. Seeing the Chargers actually have some semblance of a passing game was encouraging. This is back-to-back weeks now where Herbert has thrown the ball a lot. He was over 300 last week, and this week he was almost at 280 with Ladd McConkey obviously scoring 2 touchdowns, one being the big one, another big play to Josh Palmer, and then the late touchdown that McConkey scored was Herbert running around and throwing the ball up to McConkey and him bringing it down and scoring another touchdown. People were saying Haener's better. Look, honestly, I don't care if Haener's better. Either. Both these quarterbacks are terrible. The saddest part about this is that Dobbins probably should have had a better game here. And then Herbert also ran for almost 50 yards, which was pretty crazy. So the big thing really is JK should have probably been better against Saints defense, but the passing game is very encouraging. Hopefully Ladd continue to be good. I see you have the Patriots and Jets up here, Ray. Drake May knocked out in the second quarter, and the Patriots were held. So there's a crazy stat. I wish I remembered. I wish I pulled
this
it.
was my upset on the weekend. I said it. Did I not say New England at home in the Jets? I said, man, this feels like an upset brewing.
You want to hear what's even crazier than that? And I wish I had this ready, but let me pull it up very, very quickly because I saw this on Twitter yesterday. The New York Jets were, at least last night, favored. So they're not anymore. They were favored over the Texans. They play this Thursday. Now the Texans are favored, but they are at home. So it's crazy. So the Jets obviously lost. The Patriots won. Drake May was knocked out in the second quarter. They had less than 250 yards of total offense and still beat the Jets, which is ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers was awful. The running game wasn't very good with Breece Hall. They did get the ball to Garrett Wilson, but this team imploded, didn't play well. Jacoby had a great final drive, and the Patriots ended up winning the game. It was an awful game, though. Awful.
What? Braylon Allen, 12 carries? What happened? What is Todd Downing doing? He had been phased out of the rushing attack. 12 for 32? 2.7, and you want to keep giving him the rock?
Yeah, man. This game was horrible. Horrible.
Jay,
it was an awful game.
I said it from the beginning that I did not like Devontae Adams in New York. I don't like it. I don't like it. I didn't like it at the beginning. I don't like it now. They're 2-6. This team fucking sucks. They're not going to make the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers is going to wreck this squad in Dipset. He's going to wreck it and leave. This is bad. Patriots, Hunter Henry. If you started him, you were fine. You got 9 points out of him. Yeah. Kayshon Boutte, quietly, 6 targets for Boutte. I don't see Jalen Polk in the stat sheet anywhere. Nothing from Pop Douglas. Nothing from Kendrick Bourne. Is this Kayshon Boutte for this season, for this time period that we are currently in? Jordan Richards, I'm not talking dynasty. I'm talking right now. Is he something in this offense?
I will say this. While Drake May is the quarterback, and even at some extent Jacoby Brissett, for at least this season, he could give you games in best ball. He could give you some games where he's putting up 10, maybe 15 points. Yeah, Polk was inactive in this game. I was pretty sure he was.
Okay, he was inactive.
Wanted to double check. Yeah. But the weird thing is that, he's their downfield threat. He's all they got downfield right now. And so he is getting those opportunities. It's like we talk about, I'd almost compare it to George Pickens. They didn't run the ball very well in this game. They didn't pass the ball very well in this game. But when you look at Boutte, he's the guy that they're giving the ball to and throwing the ball to when they need to play down the field. And he's the guy who is also, at times, making that play as well. So
Yeah.
he's going to get those opportunities, get those shots, and it sometimes will score touchdowns. And so while I'm not the biggest fan of the talent or the player, while Drake May's the quarterback, he's going to continue to throw him shots down the field. And if Butte continues to convert on some of those, then he's going to be just fine. Breece Hall was vultured for a touchdown because they decided to go with Braylon Allen late in the game to score a touchdown there. But, you know, it was just one of those disgusting games where no one really played overly well. And the fantasy takeaways from this game are the Jets still suck, and the Patriots weren't that great either, but Ramondre scored 2 touchdowns with less than 50 yards, and we'll take it. Right?
Man, 20 for 48. Yay.
Brutal.
Good night. The 2 touchdowns. And it looks like Garrett Wilson is on track for his 3rd straight high-volume wide receiver 2 season. But he is producing a little bit right now. So,
yeah, 113.
We'll take the targets. Tyler Conklin scored. And so I saw somebody ask what's the issue with Breece Hall. He averaged 5 a pop. I truly don't know what happened in the flow of the game as to why they went away from Breece Hall. What'd you say?
He didn't catch any passes this game. He got 3 targets, only caught 1 of them, and they just continued to run the ball into the Patriots defense, grind out that clock, and ended up costing them because they allowed the touchdown on the final drive.
Jay, we got to talk about it because I need you and the people to just make sure that I'm not taking away misinformation from the box score, right? Because I'm just looking at the box score. And going into this matchup, we all know that the Carolina Panthers were severely shorthanded versus the best defense in the NFL, or one of the top 3 defenses in the NFL. We knew that going into this matchup, yet I look at the numbers, Jordan Richards, and I see Bryce Young, 24 for 37, 224, 2-2. I saw some Twitter discourse that only one of those picks were his fault, so that neither here nor there. 65% completion percentage. I see he's throwing the ball to DJ Moore, Jalen Coker, whatever his name is, Jalen Coker, and Tommy Tremble versus this defense. This looks like a positive performance for Bryce Young. Tell me I'm wrong, though. Just say, Ray, the box score is deceiving you, and he looked just as bad as he always did, because this is, I believe Andy Dalton has had like 2 touchdown passes over the last 3 games, and Bryce Young hit that in 1 versus the toughest pass defense. So tell me the box score is lying to me, Jay, or was this a step? I didn't say a leap. I did not say a bound or a jump. A step forward. I'm talking about infant's first step forward for Bryce Young.
I think if you wanted to say that, you could say that. He threw 2 touchdowns. He did throw the first touchdown as well. They were the crazy thing is they were at 1 point leading in this game, but then Denver scored 21 points in the second quarter, and the game was basically over after that. Sean Payton was running fake field goals. He's running wide receiver passes. He's just running all these crazy plays in the second half that he basically knew the game was over. And so, again, it's not that Bryce Young played poorly. I didn't feel like Denver really played to win or played to be competitive or played to stop Bryce Young a ton in the second half. And that's more so what I'm getting at. To credit to Bryce Young, he did get the ball to his receivers. He did complete a lot of passes. He looked better than we've seen him look at times. But there's definitely, you can make the case that Denver as a whole didn't really try a lot in the second half of this game because they knew the game was basically over when Bo Nix is throwing touchdowns. Like, Bo Nix literally threw for almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and ran a touchdown in this game. So it's like, it was good to see from Bryce, but let's see him do this against a team that's competitive or even stay competitive in a game for 4 quarters.
No.
Why not?
No. That's bullshit, man. Because
Why not?
Because everybody, go look at what other teams have done against Denver, right? Other fully stocked NFL offenses have done or have not done against Denver. And then we all know that this Carolina team is ass. I don't care how you slice it. Jalen Coker and David Moore leading the way. Actually, Miles Sanders leading the way with Xavier Leggett. Like, we know that this offense is depleted of all viable talent across the board. And then we want to say, yes, we want to see him play well, but this was one where he was supposed to look like ass. And I think Adam OTC in my opinion, and I didn't watch the game, I think this is the take that I land on against this defense with what he had coming into this matchup. I don't know how you can look at this as a negative. He said he didn't look good, but he also didn't look like ass. That, for me, is a positive because he's looked like ass every time he's played. And to throw him out here this short-handed against this defense, and I saw the first touchdown was a zip right on PS2. Slant, goal line, tight coverage. That's a hard, tight window throw against the top corner in the NFL, and he put that bitch right on the money to Leggett. Like, that's like that confident. And then there was another one, sideline throw. I think it was 27 yards to Coker, the 29-yard joint. Dropped that hole in the bucket right over the top. So I think somebody said a small-sized Bryce Young step forward, and I'll take it. And then you look at Bo Nix. We thought this was going to be a Javonte Williams game against his defense. He averaged 2.6 a carry, damn near Ramondre levels on 17 carries. He had the opportunity. Bo Nix, folks, every week he's stacking
QB2.
weeks over his last 5 games. JRich, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns to 1 interception passing over his last 3 games for Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I think
and he hardly ran the ball this week.
With Sean Payton, he might be okay. He might be okay. And that leads me to this. All right. There's a lot of narratives out there about the 25 class and how awful the quarterbacks are in the class. A lot of that narrative going around, Jay. What quarterback class has been good? What QB, like when you really sit back
This
and
class
think
has been
about
pretty
it.
good, though. So far.
When you really sit back and think about it, like which QB class has been good? Here's my thought. This is just an old Ray GQ theory, and I'm going to talk about this on the Mock Mondays video. I don't think this class is any worse than any of the other classes before. You know what it is? You and every other analyst just felt a lot better about the names of the players in those classes opposed to this one. Because you go back to 2021, class was fucking awful. Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. 2022, Kenny Pickett. 2023, we got Stroud. But after that, people think Anthony Richardson is a bum. Bryce Young is a bum. Will Levis is a bum. So that class couldn't have been any good. And right here in 2024, people are already panicked on Caleb Williams. People were kind of out on May. I don't really know, but now he looks kind of good. So when we sit here and talk about this class is no good to these previous classes, I call bullshit on that. What I think it is you just felt better about the names of the players in those classes, but not one of them joints been good. You got a guy out of there. Maybe 2. Maybe. What class has been good? JD5 is dope. JD5 is incredible. But as the collective class that everybody is peddling with 2025, tell me when one has been dope. 2020.
So my pushback on what you're saying is that while I do agree with your sentiment, where I think you're a little bit wrong is that you're ignoring the fact that these classes have many accomplished quarterbacks, and maybe not accomplished in terms of championships, but definitely accomplished statistically. And so when you look at this class, Ray, where is the accomplishments and consistency that you expect from a quarterback? You go back to the last class and you brought up Trevor Lawrence, freshman national champion. Even Mac Jones was coming off an undefeated season where Devonta Smith just won the Heisman Trophy. Yeah. Fairly accomplished, very accurate, great season from a quarterback. We're not even seeing that this year. So I think that's where your narrative is fine, and I understand it. But Justin Fields is a quarterback everyone loved because he's a size speed freak and was great at Ohio State. And so that's where it's like, I think you do have a level of accomplishment and I'd almost say like belief due to the accomplishment that the quarterback can see in the NFL. Right now, you have Shedeur, who is great at Colorado and putting up a ton of numbers, but people aren't really in on Shedeur for whatever reason. You have Cam Ward doing it at Miami and playing well. And outside of that, there is no Heisman Trophy candidates. There is no former national champions. There's barely even players that have been to playoff games
Jay,
to where you're seeing them play at a high level on the high stage.
What you're saying is the same thing I'm saying. You felt more comfortable with those names, but winning them championships don't got a goddamn thing to do with production in the NFL. All of that stuff it's irrelevant, man. Jaden Daniels didn't win no championship.
But he did win a Heisman.
And that's to my point. You feel better about the names, but to sit back and be like, those classes were superior to this one, I just think that the difference between this one and that one is, and we talked about it on this channel for years, like it's almost like the great reset to where all of those names cycle out of college and it's just new bodies and new names that have not built up that home fanfare name value that you don't really know about them outside of the stuff that you hear. But I say all that to say nobody like Bo Nix. People were hating Bo Nix is garbage.
But he
trash
was playing well in Oregon, though, to be fair to him.
And that's my point, right? All that accomplishment that he had at Oregon, all that winning that he did at Oregon and as elevated as he had his team, people still didn't like him. So it's an interesting dichotomy that we're in right now where I just think it's a lot of narrative. And half of the people talking about the 25 class don't watch a lick of college football anyway. So they're waiting for some big name to say something and they latch on to it. Bo Nix is playing well. Like Bo Nix, would you rather right now Bo Nix or JRich? Straight up, 1-for-1.
Bo Nix. It's not even close.
Not even close,
and
right?
And I think the sad part, Ray, is I trust Sean Payton right now more than Shane Steichen.
So do I.
It seems like Shane Steichen is mismanaging Anthony Richardson, and I don't know if it's because he's regressing from his rookie season, but it almost does seem like there's even less confidence than he had last year when at times you did see him play pretty damn well. But I definitely am trusting what we're seeing from Peyton. Sorry.
Seattle, Buffalo. Buffalo put foot in Seattle. We thought this would be a game, and it was not. Worst call on the week for me by far. Kenneth Walker.
Me as well.
9 for 112. What a matchup and what a colossal failure from this offense in this matchup. Noah Fant, nothing. Lockett, nothing. JSN, empty calories.
Good
you got
enough,
12 points. Good enough. Geno Smith, awful. What do you have to say about Seattle? This was a big letdown. If you started Ken Walker, I mean, you were going to start him regardless of what the hell I said. But if you prioritized him over a Gibbs or somebody, I am sorry because he was awful. James Cook was dope, 6.5 a carry, 2 touchdowns. Let's go. And I was shocked when I saw the receiver production, Jay. Amari Cooper, 1 for 3, 2 targets, and Khalil Shakir, 10 for 9, 10 targets, 9 receptions, 107. Keon Coleman, I talked about Keon on Friday as a not-so-obvious start versus his defense. 5 for 70 and 1 for Keon. What do you – talk to me about this one, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said it as well. I thought the Buffalo was going to put up a lot of points on this Seattle offense or Seattle defense, and I was hoping that Seattle would answer to some extent, and there's nothing they could do. The offensive line is just terrible for Seattle, and Buffalo was getting a lot of pressure, and then they were covering up on the back end. So without DK Metcalf as kind of the ultimate equalizer when things break down, you saw what happens, right? And you look at Seattle and you say JSN was able to get involved and caught his passes. Lockett was literally invisible out there. He barely got any targets and didn't play very, very well at all. But then you look at Kenneth Walker and you're like, how are they not able to run on this team? And it was clear the Buffalo prioritized the running game, stopped him running the ball. And even when you thought maybe there was some hope for Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet is the one who gets the goal line touchdown late in the fourth quarter. That is absolutely meaningless for the game, but would have really helped us out for fantasy. Josh Allen was unreal in this game. Another game almost over 300 yards. Khalil Shakir had a great game. Oh, man, he's back. Ray, we were talking about, does he have enough weapons? The demise of Josh Allen. Is Buffalo really a championship contender? And all of a sudden, this team is back. Shakir was back and playing well. Coleman played great. Cooper, I'm not overly concerned about. You know, he's not going to have a great game every game. It's only his second game with the team. He's still getting acclimated to the offense, to the team. But Josh Allen was great on the road in this matchup, and they absolutely eviscerated Seattle in this game.
All right, Jay, let's move on to Philly-Cincinnati. Let's talk about the Eagles and 37-17. Wow. All right.
Beat down.
It's my first pass through this. I want to do this with y'all. Let me pull that game back up. Saquon got it done, 22 for 108. Okay. Hurts 3 touchdowns on the ground. Wow.
Yeah.
Smitty.
How about that tush push, right?
Oh, yeah. Was it all tush push?
A lot of tush push, yeah.
Was it tush push? Let me see. Hurts, 1 yard. Hurts, where else? Okay, he scored through 1. Hurts, 1 yard. Yeah, man, damn. Tush push Hurts. Yeah, that's what's... Okay, well, Jalen Hurts got it done for you. 236 through the air, 108 on the ground for Barkley, 3 touchdowns for Hurts. Smitty and A.J. Brown kind of flip-flopped this week, both 85 yards. Smitty got the tud. Burrow. Man, Burrow.
Pretty good.
70% completion percentage. It was fine. Chase Brown, they can't run the ball. Maybe Joe Mixon would help. Maybe you shouldn't have traded away Joe Mixon. Gesicki was 73 and Chase with 11 targets, 54 and another touchdown because that's all he does. Doesn't look like there was a lot to get excited about from Cincy, just looking at the box score, Jay.
Yeah, since he had a decent first half, Burrow was really cooking early, but in the second half, it was all Philadelphia. They completely dominated, took over, and it was very clear who the better team was, and part of that was because Cincy could not afford to not score on every single drive. The defense was terrible once again. As you can see by the box score and by the stats, Saquon Barkley ran all over them in this game. They were able to convert on the goal line with Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts also threw the ball quite well as well. He got the ball to his two playmakers. Grant Calcaterra was used sparingly as well while Dallas Goedert was out in this game, but it was all A.J. Brown and Smitty. You know, as you mentioned, Smitty did score the touchdown, and since he couldn't stay competitive because they couldn't stay in this game, T. Higgins didn't play in this game, and it was clear they desperately need him to even stay competitive at all because they could not move the ball consistently enough with just Jamar Chase, and when it's just Jamar Chase, he gets doubled, he gets bracketed, and it's very difficult to get him the ball when he's not single covered or playing zone coverage. So in a lot of ways, since he was in this game early, but the second half, Philly had a really good game plan, stopped Jamar Chase, and there just wasn't much that Cincy could do on the other end.
All right. 27-20. Weren't the Chiefs favored by like 10.5 in this matchup? Okay,
This game was awful.
Hold on. I didn't watch a second. If you told me that the leading rusher for the Raiders would be Madison with 15 yards, the leading receiver would have 58, and that's Brock Bowers, and Minshew would throw for 209, like I would say the Raiders got their shit kicked in, but it was 27-20. What happened? Kelsey went off. Worthy scored. Hopkins did nothing. Kareem Hunt got a bunch of, 2.8. Man, Hunt is bad.
Plotter.
2.8 of rush attempt, but it doesn't matter. What happened?
It was just another game where Kansas City, what do?
Wow.
They score early. They kind of let the team back in it. Then Mahomes throws a bad interception. Then somehow Minshew fumbles. Then they're kind of back in it again. And then they score again. And then all of a sudden the Raiders are coming back and, the game's over. No, it's just Kansas City finds a way to make every game disgusting. Like Hunt is running the ball 21 times, doesn't even get 60 yards. Travis Kelce was great. Xavier Worthy did score. But outside of that, like there's no redeeming qualities here. Like there's nothing to see here. There's no takeaways.
How did Nuke look? Did he look like Nuke or did they not even really use him?
They didn't really use him that much. He was kind of just there. He was on the field a little bit. I couldn't tell you what his snap share was. I didn't watch a ton of this game because it was just a gross game. It wasn't worth watching. But the big thing, honestly, is like you look at Mahomes and you just wonder, like, why isn't he playing better? There is some missed opportunities, and I wish that this team could execute a little bit better and run the ball better. But overall, like the Raiders did have a pretty good game plan and played fairly well. Offensively, they were good. I believe I talked about Jacoby Myers, how I thought he could have a pretty good game. He ended up scoring in this one.
You did talk about
But it's just like there's too few and far between for both these teams to really get a sense as to what these teams are. I didn't watch this game and say, oh yeah, the Chiefs are so good, they're going to win the Super Bowl. They went on the road, they got a win, but for all the talk of the Kermit the Frog stuff, Mahomes really didn't play that well in this game. He played well enough to win, but he didn't really play well enough to where I'm like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is back.
Jason in the chat said we got to get Minshew off the field. Jason said we got to get. I mean, he scored 2 touchdowns, and again, I'm box score watching. 24 for 30, 2 touchdowns, 80% completion percentage sounds pretty good to me. That sounds pretty good to me. That I didn't watch it. I'm pretty sure it didn't feel as good, but that looks pretty good to me. And Charlie's, I saw right? Adam OTC. Hey man, Adam, I'm not even going to get into OTF. We're not going to get into that. Anyways, Pacheco, he's coming back. Yeah, Pacheco's supposed to be back. So
hopefully, yeah, 1 to 2 weeks. I've seen reports. Hopefully.
Man, Hunt was
they
bad.
need him back, man.
Good Lord. I mean, he's getting it done for fantasy, but yeah. All right, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Jordan Richards, ATL, Kirk Cousins, 4 touchdown passes in this one. Your boy.
Hey,
your boy,
I
Jay.
said it, right?
Kyle Pitts. Your boy. 4 for 91, 2 touchdowns. Mooney scored. Bijan got one through the air. London shut down. But, trust the Trinity. We talk about this. They're going to flip-flop some weeks, and this was the week where it was the Mooney week. I'm not concerned about London. It seems like Tampa Bay, based on the box score, they said, we'll stop Drake London. You're not going to throw to him. We'll prioritize Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts, and it worked out. Ground game, pretty even split, but Bijan the more explosive runner. Kirk Cousins got it done for you for 80% completion percentage for Cousins. Awesome. And Jay, Baker Mayfield. This was a big talking point on this channel, on this show on Friday, with a lot of people enthusiastic and excited about McMillan and Palmer and Sterling Shepard. And who did we say would be the primary beneficiary for Tampa Bay? Who did we tell the people
that's true.
We felt confident in starting? Who was it, Jay?
Cade Otton.
Cade Otton. You look at the usage, it's very simple to look at him and be like, hey, that's the one that I feel confident in. And he was awesome. 9 for 81 and 2 touchdowns. He's got to be he and Kelsey up there for the top tight ends on the week. It's got to be Cade Otton.
He was runaway. I think he was like a top 10 player, period. Yeah, he had a very good week.
Bucky got on the field, so that knocked down Sean Tucker enthusiasm. And Rachaad White, 6 for 29. I think he was coming back from some injury, so I didn't watch this game. Looking at the score, White and Irving highly prioritizing the receiving game. I'm thinking about prop bets. I just want to hammer those for those two running backs moving forward. But talk about this game, Mooney, Pitts, Otton, a lot of points in this one.
Yeah, so we'll start with the Falcons side because Kirk was awesome in this game. Kyle Pitts' first touchdown came on a 4th down play where Pitts got behind the linebacker and ran it in for a touchdown. Now, his second touchdown was a little bit more questionable, where he's wide open, holding the ball out, and he got stripped.
That was from the game where I saw a still image of that, but I didn't know what that was from. I'll be honest with you. I'm still in fog.
I'm going to tell you, bro. It was close. It was ruled a touchdown.
So did he drop? Was it a drop ball situation? Was he running across the goal line?
No. There was I forget who the safety was who was running after him, and he's just holding the ball out. And it's funny because the safety tried to tackle him and then knock the ball out. If he just went straight for the ball, he probably would have got it. But it was reviewed, confirmed a touchdown, but it was definitely a close one. So Kyle Pitts did do just enough to score that touchdown, and good for him. It was a great game for him. It was National Tight End Day, which I wish I knew because tight ends went off this week. It was ridiculous. Darnell Mooney caught a big, I believe it was a post route over the middle. Great touchdown by Mooney. And like you mentioned, London just didn't need to get overly involved because everyone else made plays and did their job, right? Pitts had 2 massive touchdowns in this game, helping out his day. So, yeah, Pitts' touchdowns were big touchdowns and great plays overall, both by Cousins and by Pitts. But on the Tampa Bay side, it was very reminiscent of the Baltimore game where they got down early. They did play well and scored touchdowns, but they got down a little bit early, and Baker was just throwing the ball a ton, right? I expected them to run the ball a little bit more, but Baker, once again, throwing the ball a ton, 3 for 3 touchdowns, was great for fantasy. Even if you started them, Cade Otton was obviously the number 1 beneficiary. One of those touchdowns did come late in the game, but he used Rachaad White. He used Bucky Irving. You see, Raheem Jarrett was second on the team in receiving yards. You see Jalen McMillan, 7 targets. You see Ryan Miller, 5 targets. Sterling Shepard, 5 targets. Trey Palmer, only 2 targets, so he was a little bit lower on the totem pole relative to McMillan. Now, Shepard not overly involved, so my call was an awful one. But I think the bigger thing for me is that Baker is going to be serviceable. The question is, how do you feel about the rest of the playmakers? I don't feel great about anyone other than Cade Otton, but Bucky Irving leading in rushing and receiving at running back is very encouraging. Very encouraging.
Bucky, Otton, and what I want to do is, because I know not all targets are equal, I want to look at when McMillan was prioritized and what type of targets did he earn, just to see when it happened in the flow of the game. But I think that is encouraging at a baseline level that of the 3 receivers we were trying to parse between, he was targeted more than those guys. But the real answer is Cade Otton. That is the true answer. It's Cade Otton. All right, final game, Jay. Who's Monday night? Who we got tonight? Who's playing tonight?
Steelers and Giants. Who you got in that game, Ray? I believe the Steelers are 7-point favorites in this game. Yeah, Steelers are 6-point favorites at home.
Yeah, Steelers. Dallas, they're 13th in the NFC, 3-4. They lost 24-30 to the Niners. I watched this game for about 2 quarters and went to sleep when it was 10-27. Dak looks like he garbage timed his way to some points at the end, as he normally does. Coming off of the bye, Rico Dowdle, whatever I've been telling you all season. He's not good. Dallas isn't going to give him the ball.
He was sick, Ray. He was sick.
Yeah, he was sick, but he was out there signing autographs, but he was sick. Dallas is a clusterfuck, man. Zeke, they roll him out there, gets a touchdown. He stinks. CeeDee Lamb is the only receiver worth a damn outside of Jake Ferguson, who 6 receptions, monster break tackle ability for 3 yards. I've never seen a tight end break the type of looking like Jeremy Shockey out there without the yards. He's just throwing Niners off of him for 3-yard gains, trying his best. 6 for 23 on 8 targets. I'm going to assume that what happened in this matchup is they were down. They had no choice but to just launch the ball, and it just went CeeDee Lamb's way, and he's one of the best receivers in the league. So if you throw it his way, this is what happens, and this feels very reminiscent of last year's post-bye Cowboys when they were awful with CeeDee Lamb to start, and then CeeDee Lamb went on to score 30 points a game. I'm done with this team. I'm done. I've invested so much time and energy and effort. And the worst part about Dallas's poor performance this year, Jay, the worst part about this entire situation, there were a lot of big-name Cowboys media folks out there pumping up this team in the offseason. All these people saying we're going to be bad. They don't know what they're talking about. This team is going to be able to do it and that. What did old GQ say from the jump? It's a damn bad team. They might be picking top 10 in the NFL draft, and I don't believe that they're even the second or third best team in the NFC East. And where do they sit right now? Third in the NFC East, one of the worst teams projected right now to be picking 13th overall in the NFL draft. And my question to all you high-level Cowboys analysts out there, what the fuck were y'all watching in the offseason to give you confidence that this team that did not invest in the offense of playmakers for Dak Prescott, the defense is still a mess because they can't stop the run. The linebackers are my size, and they got old, terrible defensive backs. I'm watching the introductions to the game, Jay, and you know how they put the PFF grade next to everybody? Every Cowboys defender, 70 to 99, all of them. Mozzie Smith dead last, Diggs 111th out of 113, Bland, Hooker, linebackers, all of them damn at the bottom of PFF's grades. This team is pathetic. It's awful. They have no identity. The owner doesn't give a damn. And until things change, the Dallas Cowboys are going to continue to be America's laughingstock because they'll keep putting them on national TV to get their shit kicked out of them. This team is bad. Fantasy-wise, CeeDee Lamb, yes, Dak Prescott can garbage you. I've been here all season. It's a bad, bad team, Jay. They need to start it over. They need to reset and start it over. This team stinks, dude. This team stinks. And I don't ever talk about my boy. I haven't even been able to play with the wake-up chat and wear cowboy shit on the show because they're so bad. I'm fed up. I'm hot as fish grease. I'm done with them. I am done. I've got to find a new squad. I just watch football now. I have no team.
Yeah, they didn't play very well. Now, they were leading in the first half, and then San Francisco went nuclear in the third quarter. George Kittle, monster game. Isaac Guerrero did have a great game as well. CeeDee Lamb did play pretty well in this game. Even the second touchdown where the two defenders did collide, so he was wide open, was able to score. Dak found him. This was actually a competitive game towards the end. I mean, I didn't watch it either. I decided to go to bed because I thought the game was over. But I watched it this morning, and it was surprisingly competitive down the stretch. The Cowboys did have a chance to win. They didn't ultimately get it done. Purdy and the 49ers defense once again let the team back in the fourth quarter. But credit to Dallas, credit to Dak. They did play well in that fourth quarter. Just too little too late for the Cowboys.
I got to stop you. I don't want to hear they play well in the fourth quarter. That's what Dak does.
They did.
I don't give a shit. Play well in Q1. Play well in Q2. Play well in Q3. And then play well in the fourth quarter, Jay. And no, Mark, Genty will not fix it. Do not wish Ashton Genty upon the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody keeps talking about Dallas should have signed Derrick Henry. The hell to the no. Because we wouldn't have the King Henry that we have today. And Ashton Genty, the best running back in the class, the Dynasty 101 in all formats, we do not collectively want him in Dallas for what? They better stop mocking. Mark, they got to stop mocking running backs to Dallas. Jay, I don't want to talk. I'm not going to let you say they played well in the fourth. Talk about San Francisco.
Ricky Pearsall got involved in this game, 4 targets for 38 yards, and did get involved in the rushing game as well late. getting a big first down for them there. But yeah, this team is, I mean, the Cowboys are awful. San Francisco still didn't play well defensively. So I think the biggest takeaway still for me is like, you can start players against San Francisco because they are allowing points, especially fantasy points. But seeing Lamb play very, very well is encouraging for us because he hasn't been playing overly well. And I think they continue to see Dak do his thing out there. He threw 2 picks. One was pretty bad, and the other one was just kind of unlucky. It was a great play by the defender. But overall, the story is Kittle playing unreal in this game. Debo was fine, going in and out a little bit because he was tired and dealing with his pneumonia. And then Ricky Pearsall getting involved, and Guerrero obviously dominating in this matchup as the 3rd-string running back for the San Francisco 49ers. But all of that doesn't really matter because Christian McCaffrey will be back at week 10, and we'll have to figure out whether Guerrero or Mason or any of those guys are even viable once McCaffrey comes back.
I was going to ask, is Mason done?
I don't know if he's done, but it's tough when Guerrendo's playing well in the same type of role, right?
That's Guerrendo's doing exactly what Jordan Mason did.
Yeah. He's doing the same thing.
Kittle, monster. Wow. I did see, didn't Debo get a touchdown called back? There was a holding call. He had like a 70-yard
massive touchdown. Massive.
Brock Purdy had 56 on the ground. What was he doing?
Brock was scrambling out there. It was like back to the Iowa State days when he's running around back there for his life, making plays for the team. And then the through the air, the thing with Purdy is watching the game, he's still kind of like, I don't know, man. He's on shaky ground right now, it seems, but they're winning games and they're doing enough to win. So we'll keep monitoring that situation. But they definitely need Christian McCaffrey back to see the dominance we've seen before from this team.
A week of football. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I missed this week. It feels like this week would have pissed me off, man. This was a wild week. All right, let's go to chat real quick before we get out of here. It's a perfect entry for CMC. Yeah, exactly. Like let's get Christian back. He's hurt. We need you back, Christian. It's a great little segue to get CMC in and get Jordan Mason off of the field. Anyone seen Kalen Johnson? He's a beast. I think you are speaking about Caleb Johnson, the big running back out of Iowa. Mock video I put out last week, I talked about it. He's my RB6 in the class right now. Mason will be RB1 next year. Joe, why do you not have more Brian Thomas Jr.? I saw that in the chat. Tell me why, what you didn't like about BTJ coming out. And then I'm calling Genty to Vegas and being wasted. Yeah. Probably going to get wasted by some team. All right, Jay, hit the music, man. Hit the music. Week 8. We are struggle busting this thing together, folks. We are. Who am I gonna be? Who do I wanna? What hat do I want to wear? We're gonna end this.
Who are you feeling? Steelers or Giants?
You said what?
Steelers or Giants tonight, Ray? Who you got?
Pittsburgh. Giants. Yeah. Upset. Where's the game at?
Wow.
Where's the game at? Where's the game
Pittsburgh.
at?
Pittsburgh.
Oh no, Pittsburgh. Never mind. Pittsburgh. Never mind. It's in Pittsburgh. Nah. It's Pittsburgh, man. We went an hour and a half today. Sorry, Jay, for keeping you too long, but we had to get through it. And I didn't see it, so I needed to know from you good people. So we appreciate you being in the building. Thank you, each and every eye, each and every ear. And Joe said the reason why I didn't have any BTJs because I drafted JD 5.
Fair.
Good draft plan, Jay. Good Joe. Not Jay. Not you, Jay. Joe. Good draft plan, Joe, my girl. Appreciate y'all, man. Rico, Adam, OTC, Jason, Joe, MV Prop, Amstel, Richie, Luke, Marcus Myers, my dog. What's happening with you? We appreciate y'all tapping in. Hit that thumbs up button, like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back on Wednesday. We are going to talk rest of the season. Where are we at with these cats? We're halfway through. We know some of y'all still got trade deadlines, but where are we at? Mid-season awards, buys, bets, all of that good stuff. 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Mock Draft Monday on the channel later today. Thank you. We love you. We are out of this thing. See you. Have a great Monday. Peace.